All right, we're going to call to order the best Rotary Club and we have an invocation. Paul, are you invocating?
Please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing our Rotary family to meet today and bless us and our families at home. Keep us safe and bring us well into the new year. Go Seahawks.
All right, and now our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And we have a song, I see a song there.
Yeah, since we got such a nice day, let's do You Are My Sunshine. You are my sunshine.
Yay. It's always funny whenever somebody picks up the mic to do the song. If it's Keith, we get that booming song. If it's David Bricka, we get the song. If it's anybody else, it's like, you are. Let's see. Visiting Rotarians. I know we got one hiding out there somewhere. Do we need to introduce our visiting Rotarian there? Oh, David's going to take it.
Are you not anymore? You're a former Rotarian, so we'll introduce you anyways. Steve Rule, 30 years, the Skagit Rotary Club. Welcome. Lives just down the road. Welcome, Steve.
Welcome. And do we have any guests of Rotarians?
Yes, we do.
I have Jessica Espy here from Hampton Lumber, and she's just checking out our club. She was a presenter a while back, and she thinks that we're pretty cool, so she wants to hang out with us a little bit more.
All right. And moving into club business announcements. Ruth, would you like to start us off?
So you may be wondering, why would she put these auction slips out on the table? It's only January. Does anyone besides Danny Russell know? Last year and the year before, the live auction items they were a guessing game. And Danny told me, bless her heart, after the auction was over, she said, live auction items need these too. So if you are a team captain, those live auction item descriptions are due next week. Just a reminder. So if you have not talked to your team yet, here is your kind of last warning. You've received several emails. I know you all read my emails. And you should be discussing with your teams. I've heard from a team captain whose team is putting together a murder mystery night with a certificate to a restaurant. And that's pretty awesome. I've heard from another team captain who's putting together a Seahawk package. I've heard from 2. So we have 12. Just a reminder, 1 week left. Brainstorm, get those in. And don't forget to pay your team captain for your share too, because there's nothing worse than being a team captain and putting $1,000 on your credit card for something and having half your team never pay you for it.
There we go. All right. And, oh, well, you put your mic away.
Oh, I forgot. Hi again. I'm not lecturing this time. I'm rewarding. So this morning, our committee met, and as you know, every year the school district does what's called our Community Recognition Awards Night. And it's a big deal. And the recipients are nominated, and then they're selected by former winners. And this is something that Mark Venn started during his tenure as superintendent just a few years ago. And it has been carried on throughout the years pretty well. And the recipients are incredible, incredible people. So today we wanted to do this at Rotary because this is a person who is near and dear to my heart because they are one of the hardest working individuals in this club. Danny Russell consistently goes above and beyond in her service to the Sedro Woolley community. She is deeply committed to giving back and ensuring that community members of all ages have access to meaningful programs and opportunities. Danny actively serves as a member or volunteer with numerous community and school organizations, including this club, the Sedro Woolley Alumni Foundation, Helping Hands Food Bank, and the Big Lake Parent Group. In addition, she previously served as a school board member for the district. Her longstanding dedication, leadership, and genuine investment in the success of Sedro Woolley's youth and community make her highly deserving of this recognition. So please join me in having Danny come on up here, and she will also be recognized in February at the Community Recognition Night, but come on up. And here's your right hand.
All right, great job. I think that was a bribe to keep her doing what she's been doing. So hopefully that works. Next on my list is we're going to be stocking the food pantry down at the high school right after this. So I've got a few things left back in the back. I'm going to get those emptied out. I'll make a Costco run to restock for next week, and we'll hit State Street and the high school again. I had two little elves help me on Christmas Day, and they really enjoyed stocking the shelves on Christmas Day with some stuff down at the high school. I don't know if we can ever truly measure the impact that we have when we're doing this. It's not a huge investment on our club's part, but I think the impact is felt. And I think the last time we were down there stocking it, I was putting stuff on the shelf and kids came out of the classroom and went right to the shelf and says, "Can we have some stuff right now?" You bet. That's exactly what it's for. So I'll be doing that right after the meeting today. And on everybody's table is a slate of officers for our next rotation of officers coming forth. They've been out on the table. We've tried to have them out there for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but we haven't really had
Haven't heard from him.
in a row for a while. And speaking of that, Nick, that'll be $1 for blowing off about half of your duties. But I just wanted to remember that. So looking for a motion to accept. Ruth? Okay, we have a motion to accept that slate of officers. It's on the table. And do we have a second? Sam? We got Sam Stormont as a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? Bill, not even a whatever? Got it. I just check it. Just check it. I didn't know if you heard me or not. Thank you. So we're going to move forward with that. So those of you that are on the list, you're stuck now. Moving on to the next item, the 29th of this month is a 5th Thursday, even though we didn't have a meeting last week. We're going to treat that as an evening meeting, and we're looking to possibly do pizza and bingo or something and bingo. So if you're interested in doing something, I don't know if Mike wants to cook up 50 gallons of spaghetti, but we can do pizza. That's an awful lot of work, and you'd have to go out and kill something between then and now.
I
And
can't remember the name of the,
right. I
where
wasn't
he, I
specific.
can't remember where
wasn't
he takes
specific.
it, what it's
So
called.
we're going to be looking at January 29th.
It's not Precision. Is
Thursday,
it
as long as
Precision?
this building is free. I got to check and make sure that there isn't something in the
Where your dad
evening.
takes the
And
truck.
we're going to try to do bingo and pizza at I don't know what, 6? Is 6 our usual time? Sounds good. Command decision, we're going to go for 6. All right, let me write that down so I remember my decisions. All right, so the monthly teams, Bruce already talked a little bit about this. They should be working on their live auction items. I'm going to send out an email to all the team captains just as a reminder that the team captains should probably talk and figure out exactly what they're doing. I've sent out something to my team, and I know one of my team members is sitting in this room, but I don't want to burn him right now. I said, "Would you get my email?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, I just didn't respond." Thanks, John. I mean, thank you for whoever that was. But we want to get our teams working so that they're not working on the same item. So I want to send something out to everybody. And our next in-person auction meeting, when's our next one? Is it next week? Next week, and it's going to be on decorations and sponsorship. The February 5th meeting, we're looking to have silent auction items into the meeting for photos and documentation. So come up with some items, or you will feel fined, or the wrath of Ruth. The wrath of Ruth. That sounds ominous. March 5th is dessert dash signups, decoration ideas, scholarship committee. April 2nd is auctioneer to meet and preview items, confirm rentals. May 7th, the work party during meeting, load and prep for 5 p.m. delivery, bar setup. May 8th, setup, all hands on deck. So we've got our big push this year is to be more organized, get this done early, and get it done so it's not so much stress and headache on everybody at the last minute, which it is every year. Hopefully this year's going to be a little bit different. And we have one from the floor. Danny, did you want me to say anything about the signs, or did you want to say something about the signs? At the very end. Okay. So make sure we. All right. So anything else from the floor? Any other announcements from the floor? Whoop.
Let me know. December said yes. Okay. We're probably going to be. Oh, you are? Okay. I didn't know that was a rule this year.
So you can partner, you just have to do 2.
You tried and were shot down. Chris.
Without the microphone, I had no idea what you were just talking about. Was it on? Okay. Okay, cool. I'm actively looking for sponsorships for the concert series this summer. I want to jump on it ahead of time. I was really busy, kind of fell behind with everything in life last year. So sponsorships are going to be $1,000. I need 13 sponsors for the concert series. I have some great ideas, great bands set up. So as soon as I have sponsorships laid out and set, then we can do a call for bands and then let the sponsors vote on who's going to play this summer. So if that's something you want to consider again this year or do for the first time, please reach out in the next couple of weeks. Thanks.
And I'll bet you could partner with somebody to do one. So.
All right. Anything else from the floor? All right. Not hearing anything from the floor. Chad, do we have a raffle?
We got a raffle. All right.
First off is 55. G55. Good choice.
Yeah, the red wine.
$62.
Doug Wood. Winner, winner.
Ellam's Vineyard Wine and Cheese Plate. Another high number, 57.
Green wine. There you go.
Well, that's not very fair. 13, that's me. Oh, we'll take this.
Ah,
All right,
more green wine. Good.
good to go. Carl, I guess you're up.
All right, Sergeant at Arms. Boy, do I feel the love in the room today. And love equates to money, and we love that too. All right. We're not going to be fining people for ridiculous questions today. We're going to have some questions that get to know you a little better as a Rotarian. And you get 30 seconds to answer the question. If you go over 30 seconds, you get fined. And if you go over 30 seconds, we'll start clapping. Okay, so this is not a blather on section. If you do a really good job, your table will pay the fine. If you do a really bad job, you get to enjoy the fine too. Okay? All fines are $2. Who haven't we heard? Oh, yeah, we have.
Leave it to an engineer to make a simple process a
That's
little
right.
more complicated.
And I'm the judge and jury. So, Andrea, here's your question, and you're speaking on behalf of your table. But it's really about you, and it's all we want to get to know you. What's your favorite children's program or movie, and why?
My favorite children's program has to be Sesame Street. I don't know if it's still on or not, but the reason is because it would entertain my children for a whole hour and they seemed a little smarter when they were done.
Good. Okay, $2 for the rest of the table. Good answer. Oh, can I get some help picking up? Maybe Chad and how about Nick? You can help me. Now, I want to ask Tiffany, but I know you're shy. These are easy questions. Can you handle it? Okay. If you really don't like it, you just defer to Brian. He's dying to answer the question. All right. So if you had a superpower, what would it be and what would you do with it?
Okay, I'm gonna go with flying. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to fly.
Oh,
Yeah,
like Tinkerbell.
yeah, like a fairy.
What would you do when you could fly somewhere? Something. What would you do?
Hmm. Oh gosh. Oh, I would fly to my friend's house. Yeah, and visit.
Okay. Well, thank you. I know that was hard. So we won't fine you. So thank you for the courage of stepping up. Everybody else, $2. Thank you for learning all about it. All right. Let's see here. Got one for our favorite chainsaw man. Or wait a minute, your tool. Boat. Our boat guy. All right. This is a good guy question. Where did you grow up and what was your favorite childhood hobby or activity?
I grew up in a small town called Red Bluff, California, northern state of the state. What was favorite activity? We had 6 acres, nobody around us, so it was beating up my brother and sister with sticks and rocks.
Okay, you can pay the $2 along with your table for that. That's good. All right. And Sam, give us the best piece of advice you have ever received so that we can all learn from it.
Say it, forget it, write it, regret it.
Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Oh boy. $2 for the table and I'll chip into that. President-elect. $2 for being president-elect, but you get to answer the question. Why not? If you were a movie star, looking back on your long, illustrious career, which film were you the proudest to be the lead role in?
Gladiator.
That was a pretty short question. It's $2 for the table on that. All right. This table, Brian Isakson, you're a guest. We love you, man. Just glad to see you here. What is your most vivid childhood memory?
Growing up in South Dakota was shoveling our roof off so that the roof wouldn't collapse at night. So.
I can only imagine as a kid shoveling a roof and it becoming your most important or vivid childhood memory.
It was South Dakota.
I'll bet you loved it. Thank you, everybody. Any happy bucks? When you got money over here, David.
All right, good to be back, everyone. It's been a while. So I had a significant anniversary, a significant date in my life. On January 1st, I celebrated 40 years of sobriety. Very proud about that. And then on June 15th, 2026, I'm going to retire.
Congratulations, David. A happy 20. How about that?
All right, I got a happy buck for a fellow Rotarian. So I'm going to make Doug Wood stand up and tell a little story, but he doesn't know this. But this week, so first off, he figured out how to post an audio tune on Facebook successfully. But second, it was about family in Sugar Creek. And I listened to it and it was really great. And it was a pretty cool song. So I really want Doug to share a little bit.
Thank you. It was my dad, came from North Carolina. He's born up Sugar Creek. His CB handle was Sugar Creek. They used to use it all the time. That's why it's Sugar Creek Ranch. It was a song written by Cecil King. He sang and performed it. It was about hound hunting. And anyway, his son Jason brought it back to life through AI. And Jason King and his brother Shane lived with my parents for a couple of years when his dad had to spend some time in jail. So anyway, it was a fond memory. It really was a picture of what it was like back there. Thanks.
AI is pretty cool. All right, thank you. Mr. Wagner.
So is it Sugar Creek or Sugar Creek? Yeah, Creek. Okay, just clarifying.
So I guess it's happy, but I'm heading to Olympia after this meeting and after I pack my bags for the 60-day session. So I'm proud to be down there to represent all of you. I urge you to stay informed and let me know what you think about the issues because we got a lot of tough stuff going on down there. So don't be afraid to give me a call. Those of you who have my number or send an email to the office if you have opinions on what's going through the legislature.
Any other happy bucks? El Presidente,
All right.
back to you.
Good to go. So we've got our program coming up here. If you have to leave early, please drop a couple of bucks by the front door. I'll pick that up and I'll go to the bank after this. But I think you're going to want to hang out. And Ruth, are you going to introduce our program of the day? You're just a popular. front podium person. You just miss it, don't you?
I totally miss it. Thank you so much for most of you staying. I appreciate it. It is my privilege to introduce our program today. They'll be discussing the two levy propositions that we have on the February 10th ballot as a school district. With us today, we have Interim Superintendent Brian Isakson, who is also both my kids' principal at Evergreen Elementary School for years, and Assistant Superintendent Brent Greenwood, who used to be a member of this club until he became a slacker, but we'll get him back in the club eventually. So it is my pleasure to introduce both of you. Please help me welcome them.
Thank you so much for having us today. Really appreciate it. As Ruth said, I'm Brian Isakson. I've been filling the superintendent role until they finish the selection process for our new superintendent in the coming months. And so obviously the renewal of these levies is a big deal to us. And so appreciate the opportunity to pass some details on to you guys and take some questions if there are any. I brought Brett with me here to talk about the specifics of the numbers, but thank you very much for having us.
Okay, thank you everyone for the warm welcome. And I know I am slacking. I left and went to the Anacortes Rotary. I will be back. I've just been a little bit buried. So I do appreciate your patience, but you will see me coming back again. We have two levies on the ballot in February, and we wanted to talk to you all to educate you about what we're asking for. And these are renewals. We're not asking for anything that you aren't already providing for the community, but there is going to be a slight increase because we have inflation and those types of things that happen. So we are going to need some extra money to help us keep the school district running. So we have the first levy is what we call the Educational Programs and Operations Levy. We just call that the EPO levy. This levy is a 4-year levy that we come to you every 4 years. Let's see. So I'm going to move this. Can I move this up a little bit? I'm going to move this up so I can see what you're looking at. We have 3 funding sources in the school district. We are funded by the state. We have our local funding, which is generally the levy, and we have our federal funding. The state funding is the lion's share of our funding. Our local funding is about $17.3 million. And of that, 13.8 is the levy. That is what we're getting from the levy right now. And the difference between the 17 and the 13 is we have food service money that comes in. We have fines and fees that come in. We have donations. Those type of things go into that local bucket. And the federal funding is for our federal programs. So 4 years ago, the community was gracious enough to approve our EPO or renew our EPO levy at $2.50 per thousand of assessed value of your home. We are asking for that again. And we know that, yes, your house is worth more over time, but that doesn't mean that you're going to pay more to the school district. If you look to the far right, you see that there's a number that says $15.9 million. That is the cap. That is the most that we'd be able to collect that year off of the EPO levy. So what happens is over time, as folks move into our community or as businesses come into our community, they help share the burden of funding your local school district so your tax rate goes down. 4 years ago, we approved $2.50. Your actual rate is about $2.15 or $2.16 right now. So we're asking for you to renew it. We don't think you're going to be at the $2.50 rate, but we asked for that. What we really need is that far right number, the 15.9. But please rest assured, know that your rate won't ever go over $2.50 or won't go over $2.50 in the next 4 years. And the rate and the amount we're going to collect increases each year due to inflation. We have an inflator in there. So that's why it grows from 15.9 to 16.3 and so on. And some of you may have already picked up that we're at 13.8 right now, and we're asking for 15.9. That is a jump. The reason that we're asking for a little bit more money is that we've been deficit spending for years, and our bank account is about to dry up. We won't have enough money to continue doing what we're doing, so we need a little bit of extra money. In addition to that, Brian, sitting in the superintendent seat, has seen that we are not we have not done enough curriculum adoptions. We're not keeping up with our math adoptions and our literacy adoptions and those types of things. And those are very expensive. That's why we haven't been doing them. So we're asking for a little bit extra money so we can continue to increase or improve our curriculum. So here's what the levy pays for. The vast majority or the big bulk of the levy pays for teachers. That's probably no surprise to everyone in the room. So teachers and special education and our paraeducators, that is the good portion of the levy. Those are all school-based positions that are in the schools helping our kids perform. So to put some numbers to it in a chart that might be a little bit easier to read, here's why we need a levy. Here's why every school district in Washington State needs a levy, is that the state funds 219 teachers. And right now we have 246 teachers. That isn't perfect. It's helpful. We still have class sizes that are in the 30s here or there, but that allows us to keep it manageable. And it also allows us to have the AB schedule at the high school. The AB schedule at the high school provides 8 periods for the kids so they can explore different subjects and different courses. They can do AP. They can do things in the CT world that interest them. So that's why we need the extra teachers. The state gives us 45 paraeducators and we have 101. And I know there's some sticker shock there, but we have about 4,600 kids. We need all the paraeducators and all the help we can get. Our paraeducators are on the playground. They're the ones helping put the kids on the buses. They're the ones that are pulling the kids out into small groups into the hallways to help them improve their test scores. School nurses, just over 3, and we have 9. We actually need more. We have more health problems than ever before with our student population. We have diabetes. We have students on feeding tubes. We have students that need actual registered nurses in the building because they have medical needs that are so severe. So we have to have nurses. Psychologists, 4,600 kids on the state formula gives us 0.7, not even 1. The state psychologists, and by the way, we have 6 our psychologists help us determine what needs our students have, because students are coming to us with a lot of more needs than what you probably are aware of. Before we can even start education, there are situations at home or in their life that we need to address before we can even start talking about education. Custodians and maintenance, just under 7. We have 160,000 plus square feet and 145 acres. I'm sorry, we have 600,000 square feet and 145 acres to maintain. Those are community assets. Those belong to you, but it is our job to keep them up and working. So we have to hire another 28 folks to keep our buildings clean. And as you might have probably assumed, kids are not easy on buildings. And security staff, that is the thing now. We get less than 1, but we have 3. And a little side note, the CP levy that we have out there has funded a school resource officer, which we've been working with the city for years to get, and we finally have aligned, and that is going to happen in the next couple of months, we hope. We think they're waiting on someone to get through academy. And clubs, athletics, extracurricular, band, the things that our kids are doing that are helping us round them out, we get no money for that. That is all all funded by the levy. So the second levy, we call it the capital projects levy. I think that resonates with you all. You've heard it all out there. We've had it for the last 5 years, but the official term is the educational facility maintenance, technology, and safety. The reason that's the official name is because we have to put on the resolution what we're going to spend the money on. So that's why we're going to spend this money on maintenance, on technology, and on safety. So this levy is a 6-year levy. It's not common for us to have 2 levies on the ballot at one time, but the math worked out where you have a EPO levy for 4 years and you have a capital projects levy for 6 years. Every 12 years, they connect. So this is the first time that they've connected. So we had a group of citizens help us put together a list of needs that we want to address with this next 6-year capital projects levy. We have one that's in place right now, and we've been doing a lot of great work with it. We've been doing roofs, and we've been doing heaters, and we've been doing siding, we've been doing painting, we've been doing sidewalk and pavement repair, but our buildings have been ignored, and they are to the age where they need a lot of attention to keep them running. So we have a list here, and I'll go through it briefly of what we want to do over the next 6 years. But I'd like to point out to this group, for those of you that are advocating for us, and for those of you that your neighbors know that you're connected to the school district in some way, they may ask you when they see this, why is the field turf and the track on this list on year one instead of windows or more sidewalks or more paint or more roofs? It's because the field turf has met, our high school field has met the end of its useful life. When the soccer team plays on it, the football teams plays on it, it gets ripped, and we typically go in and we sew it back together, and we add more pellets or rubber pellets in there, so that way they can continue to play. Now it has worn so thin that when we go to sew it together, it's like dust. It doesn't even hold itself together anymore. And it's a space that we use for our athletics. We use it for our academics because our PE classes use it all the time. Our community uses it all the time. Little League uses it all the time. It is a heavily used space. And the same is true with our track. If you look at our track now, about 13 years ago when Mr. Vino, he's not here, but when he was a superintendent, we had the track redone and we had it coated with a red topping. You can see now that is starting to wear away. You can see the old black track is coming up, and it's starting to bubble up in places where it is not going to be safe for us to actually hold track events. And economy of scale, the same company that does the field turf does the track. So if we're calling them out to do the field turf, it makes the most sense for our dollar to have them do the track while they're there. But you'll see things on there. On first year, we are doing some roofs at Big Lake, and we're doing some roofing at Clear Lake, and we're going to do part 2 of the plumbing repair at Evergreen. I think it's been a very long time since we've been actually able to turn the water on at Evergreen and drink out of the faucet there. We're going to replumb the building so that works, so we don't have to continue to do bottled water. The second year is window replacements at Central, the high school, excuse me, and the Cascade Middle School. The old gym roof and the siding will need to be replaced. We have water intrusion there, and the roof has just met the end of its useful life. And Janicki Fields is another one that we get a lot of questions on. Some of you may know that Janicki Fields stays wet late into the baseball, softball season, so our teams aren't able to get out there, and our little leagues aren't able to use it. And it has bubbled up to a priority level of year 2 in this levy here, where we want to start working on the drainage so we can make these fields usable. Year 3, windows at Mary Purcell, replace the roof at Evergreen, and then we will finish the drainage work at Janicki. We want to do that over a 2-year period, so that way we're not shutting down fields where kids aren't able to play. Year 4, we want to replace some portables that are out there. We need to do some ADA compliant work. I know we have schools like Central where if you are in a wheelchair, you have to go through a fence behind the back of the school, hit the elevator and come up. We think that, we know that we need to improve that. So we need to do some ADA type improvement work. Samish will get a backup generator because they tend to lose power a lot. So we want to give them a generator where they can continue to have school when the power goes out. And we're going to replace the bathroom facilities at Janicki Fields. Other than it being wet, that's the next biggest complaint we get, especially from the young parents who have little kids. They want proper bathroom facilities out there. And we're going to start looking at Evergreen. We know we asked for a bond a couple of years back. Unfortunately, it did not pass, but Evergreen still is in desperate need of a remodel. And we want to put some money aside with this levy to have an architect put together some plans that the community can have some input on how we're going to remodel it. We don't think we'll be able to ever get a new school there, but we certainly need to remodel, and we think that'll be a little bit more palatable for our community. And we will start adding air conditioning to the buildings that don't have it. And this was put on there by a group of citizens. We're keeping track of temperatures in our buildings in the beginning of the year and from the spring on, and we have some rooms all across the district that are just too hot to be considered a learning environment. And I know that some people say, well, you don't need air conditioning, open the window. Well, some of our windows don't work. We'd like to do that, but opening a window doesn't relieve the heat that is generated by 36th graders in a room that need deodorant. So we're going to start doing the air conditioning work. And on year 5, we're just going to finish that work. We're going to spend the whole year focusing on bringing up the air conditioning. But along with that, schools that at that time that will need their heaters replaced, this will be a one-stop shop project. We'll do their heaters and their air conditionings at the same time. And the last year is when we're going to start doing, we're going to start looking at parking lots. We have parking lots that need to be paved. We have parking lots that have pavement that has cracked and buckled that needs to be repaired. We have sinkholes and play areas that need to be fixed. And we're also going to start doing a kitchen remodel. We have way more kids eating in the school now than we have ever had. And that's because it is free, thanks to the legislature. It is free for us. So obviously all the kids eat. So we need way more space so we can start actually feeding the kids right now. Right now, we're kind of hodgepodging it together by cooking foods at Central and sending them some places, and cooking foods at the high school and sending them some places. And by the time the food gets there, we have to hold it in a warmer. It's just, we feel like we can do better. And we'd like to be able to cook on site at each school. And we're going to add 3 tennis courts. That is one there. And I know, Josh, you're probably going to want to talk about pickleball, and that's something that has been brought up, and tennis courts will be added, but the goal is to have them where they can be easily converted to pickleball courts for use from the community in the afternoon. And the reason the tennis courts are on here is that I don't know if any of you have had kids that play tennis, or if you've been there. Schools don't like coming here to play tennis. Some of them actually refuse to come here and play and want us to go to either their location, or they have us meet them in Skagit at the college to play, because we don't have enough courts to finish through the varsity games in time. So the kids are out very late. Our courts are in bad shape. They want us to add courts so they can actually host a proper tennis game or match. And every year out of that 6 years, there's things that we need to carve a little bit of that money out to do. So we're going to use every year, we're going to use part of that levy to pay for the school resource officer, which we talked about. There's ongoing technology requests. I don't know if you know or not, but we're a Chromebook district, and Chromebooks start turning off the Chromebooks on their own. After a couple of years, they decide that, no, we're not going to allow you to update it. So it just becomes basically a paperweight for us. So we have to replace them every couple of years. We need to keep up with our safety and security cameras. Those things, I know some of you are thinking, hey, we just voted for that. And we did, and it's great, but they age out. And I mean, they're probably 13, 14 years old now. So we're constantly having to replace those cameras that are out there, because a lot of them are outside. They get weathered. They need to be replaced. We're going to do flooring replacements all over the district, because we have carpet that is very old. I don't know if many of you have been in Evergreen lately. Brian used to be the principal there, but you walk in and you're met with orange carpet that is probably 30 years old. It's in good shape, but it's going to meet the end of its useful life pretty soon. We've kept it as long as we could. And student furniture. We have to start replacing our furniture. Our furniture gets broken. It's old. There's places where we need to replace it. And we also are one of the few districts on Western Washington that is actually growing right now. And we just need to have money so we can buy furniture. It is shocking how much a student desk costs. And so we need to be able to have some money to be able to have furniture so we can set up an extra classroom when we need one. And we're going to continue doing some painting on our buildings out there. One of the questions we get is about impact fees. When we talk about levies, they say, well, if I build a new home in Sedro Woolley, I have to pay a $4,000 impact fee. And yes, that is true. You do. Those impact fees are used to buy portables. A portable is about $200,000, $300,000, depending on how we get it designed out there. We'll never be able to get enough impact fees to do a major construction project or do a new school. A new school is probably in the $50 to $60 million range. Our impact fees will never touch that. So we use those to buy portables. And I'll leave that up there if you want more information, because we have gone through a lot of information very quickly. If you take that QR code, it'll take you to our levy page that lets you take a deep dive into everything that we're asking for. But really what we want to impress upon you is that it is a replacement. We are asking for more to increase from 13.8 to 15.9. But that's because we've been behind the 8 ball for several years now. We're deficit spending, and this is what we need to do to actually right the ship with the school district. Any questions? Mike?
I was on a school board in the nineties and you guys were at 2.5. We were like 3.8. So just because of all the growth, we've actually been, even though the numbers are way bigger. But a modular in 1995 installed was $60,000. And now it's 300 or 325. That's the reality that we're dealing with. And we have like maybe 1,400 kids more than we had back then. But it's just the cost of living in this area has skyrocketed. And if we want to have the same impact on kids that we had 30 years ago, we're really just keeping it even though the price has gone up so much. That's all.
Thank you, Mike. There are two things I neglected to talk about that I think are important for this group. Right now for the CP levy, the community is providing $2.5 million a year. We're asking to increase that as well to $2,654,000, just because we got caught with inflation issues over COVID that really we weren't prepared for, and we have left a lot of projects undone because we didn't have enough money to do it. An example is we did replace the roof on the C building at the high school. Our quote before COVID was $800,000. During COVID, we did the project because we thought kids aren't in school. This is a nice time to get this work done. It ended up being like $1.4 million. So it just caught us. And the other thing is I want to talk numbers because we are asking for a slight increase, and slight is a word that might mean something different to everyone in this room. What we have figured is if you have a home that's worth $750,000 and this passes, your taxes will increase about $12 to $14 a month. So we just want to put it out there in what it really is going to be, because it looks sticker shock E, but when you dial it down, it's going to be a $12 to $14 a month increase to you. Okay, sorry, any other questions?
Just a couple questions. Can you help me understand? Many of us got hit with this new valuation statement from the county, and let's just use an example of $100,000. Last year is what my home was worth, and this year, now the county says it's $150,000, so it's a 50% increase to me. How does that not equate to more dollars for you?
So we have a cap on what we can collect. So what happens on the school side is if your home increases 50%, like in your example there, your rate per thousand drops because we can only collect so much from you. Your rate to us doesn't stay the same. Your per thousand rate drops. So on a $100,000 home, you're giving us $1,000. On a $150,000 home, you're still only going to give us $1,000. Your per thousand rate drops.
Okay. Second question is on your list, great projects, by the way, on your list of projects, when you do run into project budget overruns, because they statistically are going to happen to you, are they listed in up importance, and do they get bumped based on that list, the way it's scheduled there, or do you look at it and prioritize?
Yeah.
Or is it fluid? Is it flexible?
A little bit of all of that can be true. So right now, this is the list that's prioritized. So we prioritize it by year 1 through year 6. But that is not what's going to happen, because over the time an emergency is going to happen. I'll go back to the roof at the high school. When we pulled that off and we found a little bit of rot here or there, that changed the whole project for us. And when we had a cost overrun that we thought it was going to be 800,000 and it was 1.4 million. That means we started moving things around on this list that weren't going to get done because we didn't have the money to do it. So it's a little bit of both, but this is our roadmap right here, prioritized roadmap, but it is going to be very unlikely that we're able to stick to it.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, Josh.
On the state allocated funds, I think you had a chart there that showed that. I'm curious, have they been keeping up with inflation as far as their allocated funds through the years? And are we getting what we think we should be getting up here in Sedro Woolley? Is there more that we can do to get more from the state?
So I know that Keith is in the room, so I have to like walk a very tight line here. Mickey, no, I'm kidding. No, Keith, I know you're a supporter. Yeah. No.
Can you
be a little closer so
Oh,
we can.
yep, sorry. No. The state is not funding education anywhere near where it needs to be. This chart just shows you the tip of the iceberg. This goes very, very deeper. So when I say things like the state provides 45 paraeducators, they provide about 30,000 per person for an educator for a paraeducator. That's nowhere near what it costs to have a paraeducator work. So our levy makes up not only the number of people that we need to run the school, but also making sure that they are paid fairly for the job that they're doing. What we need to do is I'm seeing information from the state now. They have a budget crunch coming, and the governor's budget has come out, and he's talking about cutting some things from school districts already. So he's already signaling that we're going to probably need to get ready to have less money from the state than what we've been used to having. And they don't keep up with inflation. No, they actually tried to dodge it. They used to give a inflation based on COLA. Now they give it on an IPD, which is called a price deflator, in which they thought was going to be a lower number for them. So it's a little bit, they move it around. Oh, yes. And another thing is insurance costs. State doesn't cover our medical insurance for our employees. And those are things that are pretty much given if you're a full-time employee in today's world. So we're behind the 8 ball all the time with our insurance.
About how much is insurance for a 40-year-old individual?
$18,000 a year.
Could you go back to the priority list, please?
Year one?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you got year 1 through year 6 based on order of priority, and each one of those items have a dollar value attached to that. Are those current dollars? I would expect they would be fairly current dollars in phase 1. But if you're looking at year 4 or 5, are you building in an inflationary factor? Or are those current dollars today dollars for a 5-year from now project?
No, we learned a hard lesson, like I said, through COVID. So as we went each year, we added what we called an inflator to adjust for what we hope is going to happen for inflation. Yeah, so if you look at things in year 6, or let's say here year 4, the cost to update the restroom for ADA at Evergreen, we put 85,000. It probably is 60,000, 65,000 in today's number, but we put an escalator on there. Anything else? No?
Mike?
Mr. Mosier?
Just a real quick question, comment, I guess. How do we push that this is a replacement levy and not new dollars? I mean, that we're just trying to get what we already have. It's
Yeah.
tough job. I know that, Brett.
Yeah, it is a very tough job. It is a replacement, and it's a hard sell. Even if we came in and said we're reducing your rate, it's still a hard sell because we are the biggest item on your tax bill, and we know that. But we also provide the services to the community that is basically for our biggest asset, our children, our kids. I don't know how to make it where I can say it's just a replacement. It is just a replacement. You have some inflation increases that are going to happen, but that happens everywhere with everything. So we can't keep going like what Mike said. We can't keep going at the same rate we were going in the 90s. Obviously, we have inflation. We count on you actually to advocate for us because over the years, and I think Brian would agree, we've found out the community might not care what Brian and Brett have to say. They care what you have to say because you live here, you work here. They take your opinion a lot more seriously than they do ours. So we just like to make sure you're educated to know what we're asking for.
I have a real brief comment on deferred maintenance. What we're talking about, if you don't fund this, is a big chunk of that budget is maintenance. And if you don't ever paint your house or you don't ever fix a leak, it just goes right down the drain. And so pay me now or pay me more later is kind of the way. And I see this in my work all the time in public drinking water systems.
Yeah, there was I think Mr. Howland shared a quote from me that you heard somewhere that said the miser pays twice as we were putting this list together. And that's kind of where we are because for decades, we didn't have money to do anything with our buildings. And now when we actually have money to rip a roof off and put a new roof on, we're finding all kinds of problems up there because we ignored it for way too long. So I do appreciate that statement.
So in 1974, we had to raise $30,000 in 45 days to keep bare bones extracurricular activities for the students at the school district. Mike Janicki and I, we were there. My sisters were there. And till the day I die, I will resent the people who voted no for my education. And that's not, I am serious about that. I totally resent the people that did not take my education seriously. We worked our asses off to do that. And my late father was on that pile of scrap metal every day to get that to happen. We raised about $5,000 collecting scrap metal along other things. But the onus was on us kids. And it was like I say, I am bitter and angry about that. It should not have happened. So I support this 100,000,000%. And I certainly hope it passes for the kids that are in school now, because I don't want them to have to do what we had to do and wonder why are they not voting for us? Why don't they think our education is important? Because it is. And everything you do, great job. You guys have a terrible, not terrible, but it's a tough job because you're dealing with these children and their families. So carry on your good solid work, and I support you 100%.
Thank you, David. We appreciate that. We feel the same way. We get questions where Brian gets a little bit different question than I get, but I'll get a parent will say, oh, why are there only 8 kids in the AP calculus class at the high school? Maybe you should fold that and fire a teacher. Well, that's not how we see the world. We think those 8 kids wanted AP calculus, so we probably should get them AP calculus. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brian and Brett. Outstanding job. So one question. So on their presentation there were 2 girls standing there. Did you notice who one of the girls was? Yeah. Ruth, did you have anything to do with putting that presentation together? Yeah, that's exactly why they're on there, right? Excellent job. And Danny, you had something before we stop? Or
if you would like a vote yes yard sign for your yard, I have them in my car outside. I'd love to send one with you. Or if you have a friend you'd want to take one too, happy to pass them along. I have about 100 in my car. So thank you.
excellent. Ruth, was there anything else? Did I get everything? Just checking to make sure. All right. Anything else from the floor before we break? All right. Thank you all. Great turnout. Great presentation today. Thank you for our guests who are here today. Good to see you again. I won't stalk you at a grocery store to give you stuff for your auction again unless we need to. And with that, we are adjourned.